Hello. Hi, Kelly.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good, good.
Excited to be here today. And
Yes.
thank you everyone for tuning in. My name is Michaela and this is Kelly. And we are two practitioners who are good friends, love Jesus, and just want to share with you all about holistic wellness and how to create the environment in your body so it can heal. Today, we're just going to jump right into symptoms. Most people think symptoms are random, but what if they're not? And something that is a little bit like another buzzword in, kind of biohacking world is called methylation. And this is something that we look for and try to identify in our clients. And Kelly is a methylation queen. So she's going to just give us a quick, 5-minute description of what methylation is, and how and why it's such a big deal in our health, women and then men, of course, and then also especially kids.
Yeah, so methylation is something that I use in practice. It's something that I focus on just because I myself have experienced my own challenges with my health and it's been a struggle. And so, um, being on a form of methylation has been a big game changer for me. So methylation in the first place is basically where the body does not absorb the proper, nutrients, minerals, leafy green vegetables, and it goes in and it creates like this spark plug. It goes in and creates like an on and off switch. So it disconnects the brain to the gut if you don't methylate properly. And it's basically like it's a communication network. So the organs are trying to speak to each other, but they can't speak to each other properly because they're not able to absorb the proper nutrients for them to communicate that way. So when you have a form of methylation, it helps and allows those organs to communicate together. And it also helps the brain connect to the gut. And then it helps level out the neurotransmitters. So a lot of times, with methylation, people are like, well, what does that mean? Or, explain it. And it basically is imagine eating leafy green vegetables and, taking these B vitamins and thinking that they're actually helping you and instead you're just urinating them right out and it's not allowing your organs to work properly, and then you wonder why, like, why do I feel bloated all the time, why do I feel like I'm clouded, or why do I always feel like I have brain fog, or I can't focus, or I feel like I've got these anger moments to where I just feel like I want to like scream, or why is it that I have hormone imbalances, or why is it that my weight is struggling. And you have to go back to the surface level of it. And obviously, we have our antagonizers, but the most important thing, which is the driver. And the driver that I love to use in practice is methylation, because if you don't methylate properly, then we need to help you be able to do that. So when I'm giving you, these whole food supplements or supplementation to feed the organs, then I at least could know that they're allowing the organs to work properly and you're absorbing them. So
You have the building blocks to heal at
yes,
that point, because
exactly.
if you're not methylating, you're starving yourself
Yeah.
of these nutrients that your body needs.
You're depleting you're depleting your body of the minerals and the nutrients. So once you feed the body methylation, it helps absorb, it's going to help you. So you're going to start to absorb your leafy green vegetables, the B vitamins that you're taking, or, any kind of minerals or nutrients that you're taking. Your body's now going to be able to absorb it. But then it also goes in and it kick drives everything to where it's like you start to have energy. Your endocrine system starts to work. Your neurotransmitters start to level out. So like from like having that installed depression or that anxiety, that starts to calm down because the body's absorbing properly. So again, it's just basically like a communication network. It's like your brain is communicating to your gut and then all the organs are able to communicate to each other. So having a form of methylation does go in and it helps with the detox pathways. It goes in and it helps repair some organs that are completely inflamed. It again helps with the neurotransmitters, your dopa and your GABA. It helps a lot of times with hormone imbalances. And then also energy. People that lack that energy or just like that drive, they just feel like they have no motivation. It just kicks drives all those things when you get a form of methylation. Now, biggest question is people go, well, how do I know I don't methylate properly? Or how do I know I have the mutation gene? So there are different ways that you can find forms of methyl that you don't methylate properly. Not everybody has it. Um, some people methylate completely fine. And again, when they do methylate completely fine, I still give them a vitamin mineral because a lot of times our body are depleted of nutrients and minerals.
And when
But
you're under stress, you're using more of those
yes,
minerals,
yep,
right? And the
yes.
vitamins, the B vitamins, which most of us are living in a heightened stress environment.
Yes. Yeah. So there's just so many ways that you can find there's ways you can get like all the mutations, all the gene mutations. It is genetically passed down from either mother, father. I mean, I had it passed down to me because it runs in my family genetically. And there's 4 girls in my family, and not all of us girls have it. I obviously do have it, and me taking methylation every single day was a big game changer for me. And it's a whole food form of supplementation of methylation. And it's just, I love it. It makes me feel good, and and my body's allowed to like heal the way that it needs to heal properly. But there's again different ways that Michaela and I both in practice ways to find it. You can do a swab, a lab, to find the MTHFR gene. Then there's ways that I like to look, and you can look in the eye, and there's like a little speck in the eye that generally is a sign of not methylating properly. There's a line down the middle of the tongue that shows there's some nutrient deficiencies, that you're not absorbing those Bs properly. And then in muscle testing, there is the methylation point that I go in and muscle test to find to see do they methylate properly or not. Um, so that's kind of where Michaela and I both try to see, okay, are you methylating properly? Are you not methylating properly? And again, we don't use anything that's going to be, uh, pharmaceutical grade. It's all whole food because that's what the body needs. The body needs whole food to go in and feed the organs. God created food for a reason. That's what we use food for, to allow the organs to heal and allow the brain to connect to the gut properly. So, yeah, there's just different pathways that struggle. There's symptoms that show up everywhere, and methylation is the driver of it all. So we see, do you methylate properly or do you not methylate properly?
It's a big, big game changer.
Yes.
And I know both you and I both see a lot of clients who've started with other practitioners. And, I've been in this realm for a while, and you have as well, even more so growing up in it. But when you're in kind of our little holistic world, a lot of people aren't addressing methylation. And
Yes.
I think that's why people feel good for a little bit and then they revert back to old patterns, old ways. The body just kind of reverts. So both you and I are very passionate about getting to the root, very individual custom plans for the client. Um,
Yes.
with my adults, because I see mostly adults, and things that I look for in methylation is for patients that or clients who, have been really sick or overweight or hormone struggles for a very, very long time. I'm like, "Oh, methylation." You know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
are and the angle that I almost first look at it is like detox pathways. So you are accumulating all these toxins, whether it be, you know, our poisoned food or water or whatever it
Yeah.
is, vaccines, and you can detox, rid yourself of those toxins. And then now 40, 50 years later, you are, really having a bunch of challenges, but really it started from way back when. So at my practice, we do like a swab, and we look for the MTHFR gene. Not to digress too much, but this methylation is often why some people have vaccine injuries and some people don't. And I can
Yes.
say that from my own experience with my kids. I have two who do not methylate and one that does. And the two that did not methylate after their kindergarten shots, they developed symptoms. And one of them actually developed her symptoms after a flu shot when she was 9 months old, had a seizure, and kidneys got all messed up. But it's because her poor little body couldn't rid itself of the heavy metals. And then I'm going on a little bit of a tangent, but then you take Tylenol and that depletes your glutathione, which is helping your body detox. So if you have
Yep.
the gene and the other, the medication, then you're kind of out of luck. But so again, that's another thing I'll test for is, any sort of reactions post vaccines and stuff like that. The other thing that's interesting with the MTHFR gene is it can kind of turn on and off. And we know now with studying genes that you can turn on and off genes in rats. They can turn on and off breast cancer genes by how much conventional dairy you're drinking, like literally
Yeah.
turning it on and turning it off, which is
Yeah.
wild. And why isn't that mainstream news?
I
Because
know.
all the companies will go out of business. But
It's true.
it's true. They want us
Yeah.
sick, but I digress. So looking for patterns, and that's why we take our time with the first appointment, the onboarding, the consults to like really get to know what's going on. If the client isn't methylating, then that's the first thing. Just like Kelly, we're going to go in and start to support. So that's kind of how what I meant to get to was big life events, big triggers that can make your methylation either work less optimally, not work off, turn on, pregnancy's a big one, puberty's a big one. So looking for all these signs and, because ultimately everything that we're trying to do is we are trying to get the body into the environment where it can heal. So to get your body into the environment for it to heal the way it was designed to do, it needs to have the building blocks. It needs to have the detox pathways. You need to have your minerals, all of that. So that's the goal.
Yes. 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 Exactly.
How do
And
you tell me a
for
little bit more about kids? Because you see
yes,
so many kids. They're all your little adopted babies and
they're
teens
my little
and
pride
all
and
all the
joy.
things. Yes. But
I
what
see
are the
yeah,
most
I
common
do.
things you see? What are the most
A
common
lot of
symptoms or struggles that are methylation correlated?
Oh yeah. So I get a lot of kids that come in and obviously you have antagonizers. Antagonizers are like the biggest things that happen and you have these kids with these little bodies with these little organs that are, still growing. And so their nervous systems get so overworked and so wound up because their body isn't able, their body's just like it's ongoing and it's like a tiger in a cage or a lion in a cage. They're wound up with nowhere to go. And so when I get kids that come in, a lot of times they have anger spouts, they have I do get, kids and teens, depression, anxiety. The biggest one is gonna be going to bed, like, getting the kids to go to sleep. It's just, like, throughout the day, their nervous systems are just and their adrenals are just on overdrive where it's just like this constantly, and then by the end of the day, they're trying to get, their kids to calm down. They're trying to get their kids to go to sleep, or they're trying to, get their kids to, like, listen or behave properly, and it's just they can't, and a lot of times these kids feel stuck in their own bodies, but they don't know how to elaborate it or they don't know how to communicate it. I mean, I've had kids come into me that have been nonverbal, that have been anxious, that have been closed off. The biggest is going to be nonverbal. Again, after have had heavy metals, chemicals, toxins that have just overwhelmed the body, and going in and supporting the body with minerals, B12 folate,
Because the
methylation,
body wants that out.
it, like, craves it. These kids crave it so much that it's like what a lot of times because the kids that I see with these behavioral challenges, especially in school, like, they can't focus, they can't listen properly, they, have, anger spouts at school. Or at home, they slam their doors or they yell at their parents or they cry, they scream, and that's their way of basically showing their emotion and their feelings of what their organs are feeling. And it's like a lot of parents are like, I don't know what to do. It's frustrating. I don't know where to go. I don't know who to see. I don't know what's going on. Is this normal? Is this okay? And these little kids have such a hard time expressing it, but that's their way of expressing it because that's what their organs are feeling on the inside. And I always ask my kids, I go, let me ask you something. I know this might be hard to understand or you may not know what I'm saying, but do you ever feel like your brain just doesn't stop talking to you and you feel like you want to be able to control these movements or these behaviors and these actions and you can't, and then you just get frustrated and you want to cry and you don't know what to do? And a lot of times the kids will be like, yeah, yeah, because they're understanding, like, they wish they could stop it, but they can't. And another thing is the ticks, and I call them inflammatory responses because a lot of kids don't wanna feel like they've
They
got
don't wanna
ticks
be
or
labeled.
Tourette's. No, and
Yeah.
I hate labeling it because at the end of the day, they are inflammatory responses. It's where the organs are so inflamed by these antagonizers, by these things like yeast, candida, parasites, the jab toxins, heavy metals, chemicals, just everything that goes in and overwhelms the organs. For adults, obviously it's because as they get older and older, it's not as extreme. But for these kids, it's very extreme, and they have these behavioral challenges that seem so extreme, is because their organs are so small, their bodies are so small that they can only handle so much. And so the biggest thing is having a form of methylation. A lot of kids that I do see with these challenges don't methylate properly or are so depleted in minerals and so depleted in nutrients that once I give them a form of like methylated B for kids, or once I give them a form of like vitamin mineral stuff for kids, it's like a game changer. It's like snap, boom. They start to like have this behavioral change
They wake
to
up.
where they
Yeah.
totally wake up and their brains connect to their gut. And the most beautiful, amazing thing that I just love, and I have the chills right now even saying it and talking about it, is that they notice it and they cannot wait to take their droppers. They cannot wait to take their chewables. Like they are just so excited to take it because they know how they feel. And when they come into my office, it's so amazing, and it's I just love seeing it. I love to have fun with my kids, and I like to make it like a game and make them feel happy and excited to come in. And so when I do taste test tries with the droppers and make sure that they like it and so forth, but it's like they're excited to come in and they tell me like, "Miss Kelly, I pooped," or "Miss Kelly, I had a good day at school and I got a happy face," or "Miss Kelly, I
Yeah.
slept good and I didn't make my mom or dad mad." And the parents come in just thrilled because it's like they also get relief because their kids are just changing in a
Yeah.
matter of like weeks and like months, or like I said, I've had kids that come in with nonverbal. I mean, I've had kids that, they say the doctors have, told them that they're on the spectrum with autism. And it's like once we started to clean out the antagonizers, their parents are like, it's like they're completely changed children. Like I never
Yeah.
thought this could happen. And I'm like, yes, once you go in and you just rid of those inflammatory things that are and those antagonizers that are just crowding the organs, it gives these kids like a sigh of relief, and it allows their organs to have like a sigh of relief so they can start to grow more and more and be a lot healthier. And so it's just such a blessing to see and watch. And I'll go back to, because I'm kind of going on a tangent. Sorry, but I'll
That's
go
why
back
we're
to
doing
is
this. This is
I
our show. We can do
exactly
whatever we want.
whatever we want. So I have this little girl. She came into me. She's 3 years old, and I've been seeing her for about 2 months, and she has been, I say 2 or 3 months maybe. She came in nonverbal in a stroller, drinking out of a bottle, not potty trained. She, like, literally couldn't say any words and, just got like, would have frustration spouts, and so we went in and we detoxed her organs of all these antagonizers that were just overflown into this girl's little body. And so a couple of weeks after, she started saying, like, jabbles and words.
Wow.
And then she comes back in and I'm retesting her and she's starting to say like my name, Miss Kelly, and like weeks after
Oh
that
my
she starts like
gosh.
full on talking and then
This
comes
is
in with
life
no,
changing. Like,
yeah, comes
this
in with
is
no stroller.
life changing. And this
Oh
is
yeah.
like God working through you. Like, this
One,
is incredible.
I I I feel that way,
Yeah.
and I pray over all of my clients, and, I mean, she comes in, and then, like, now she's saying full sentences, She is no stroller, no bottle, currently being potty trained. She's like this little girl, like a little firecracker, the cutest little girl in the world, has
Her
so much
body
love to
just
give. Her body is
needed
like,
the support.
yes,
It was stuck. Her
100%.
body
Oh,
was
yeah.
stuck.
She was in speech therapy as well, and the mom took her out of speech therapy. She's been out of speech therapy for like almost a month and a half
Well, a lot of
now.
time that's, like, out of pocket too, like,
Yeah, it
thousands
is.
and thousands of
Yep.
dollars and
So she's no longer in speech. She hasn't been in speech therapy, but the most amazing, like, God sent, like, God blessing thing was, when she went to the speech therapist when we first started working, immediately, like, within, like, a week or so, she was connecting, like, the letters from, like, a big K to a little K. Like, she was literally connecting them, and
wow.
the speech therapist was like, "Oh my gosh," like, "Whoa," and literally it just kept on getting better and better and better, and now it's, like, night and day, and, I actually see them tomorrow, and the mom was telling me, like, "You won't believe it." She's, like, coming up to me and saying sentences like, "Here, mom, here's your phone," or like, "Bye," like,
'Cause it was in
completely.
there. It's been
Yeah, it
in
was
there the
all
whole time.
100%, and then these anger problems are not problems, these anger challenges and these outbursts that these children are having, it's just them pent up inside that they sometimes they can't even elaborate, like, vocally what they're feeling, so they behave this way, and once we go in and we connect the brain to the gut, we clear these antagonizers, it's the biggest game changer, and it's like so eye-opening, and honestly, these kids, even like I see Down syndrome kids, which I love. They're like my favorite. I have this one. He's just hilarious. And he just makes my day. But he's literally there's another one too that I see, but the one that I see, he's literally, like, has been non-vocal for, like, a while now. He's starting to say words. Like, he just came into me and he's starting to say, like, words, and the mom was like, "He hasn't been able to say words for, like, quite some time, and now he's saying words." It's because 'cause we're going in and we're literally just gently
Yeah.
relieving them of all these toxins, and it's like, oh, to
Tell
say
us tell
words.
tell everyone a little bit more about the droppers because I think,
Yeah, so
when I have conversations with parents, it's like, "Well, they're not gonna take a pill and,
I
blah,
know.
blah, blah." So tell us about the droppers.
Yeah. So the droppers are homeopathic remedies, and they're just made with herbs, and there's so many different droppers that are used for so many different organs and detox pathways, and they you dilute them with juice or water, or a lot of times parents just tincture them in the mouth because they taste sweet. Some of them taste like candy, some of them taste like a
Yeah.
sweet tart,
My kids have
but a
used
lot
them
of
and they're fantastic.
yeah. Oh, they just work really well, and they're not so tough on the system, like, if I were to give kids, like, a supplement, those are stronger, so just using homeopathic remedies and going in with just tinctures is just a gentle way of going in and allowing the organs to be able to relieve of these antagonizers and not have the kids feel just, like, overwhelmed, but also
Yeah.
they don't have to feel like they have to swallow supplements, or if
Yeah.
they don't like chew like, I don't the biggest thing is I don't wanna force kids to do something or take something that they don't wanna take that tastes yucky, because
Well,
I want them
you
to
need the
feel.
buy-in,
Yes,
they need to be
and I
on
don't want them
board.
to and exactly, and I don't want parents investing money if the kids aren't gonna take it, but I also
Yeah.
want these kids to feel comfortable and like taking it and understand the method behind of taking it. Because if they don't like, again, I do test tries in the office, like, "Try this, doable." If they don't like it, I'm like, "Alright, let's go to the next," 'cause there's so many different homeopathic droppers that we can use, but there's also
Yeah.
chewables, whole food supplement chewables that we can use, so again, it's just a gentle little touch for the organs with kids,
Yeah.
and it's worked so well, and I've just seen such tremendous changes with them using them that I love them, and I go on, weekly, um, calls to learn deep in depth about all these droppers that they come out with and so forth, and I just love learning the knowledge of them because they just work so well,
Yeah.
and so, yeah, kids
I
love the
think
droppers.
I think another thing to, emphasize is in the world that we are, working in the holistic wellness and all of that, like it's it's not just droppers, it's not just supplementation, like we have to incorporate the lifestyle. And so that's a big one. You can't out dropper a bad diet or poor
Exactly.
sleep patterns or, no movement. So the big things for, lifestyle medicine-ish to support this methylation and to support any of the protocols that we're putting our clients on. I really think sleep is number
Yep.
one.
Oh, yeah.
Sleep and like nervous system, biologically, your cortisol starts to rise at 10 p.m. for the next day. And so you have this magic window of like 9:30, 10 to go to bed. And that's when I am always encouraging my clients to go to bed so that you're not fighting your normal cortisol at 10 p.m. to go to the bat to go, for the next day.
Yes.
And everyone's felt that. I did that when I had my young kids. I wanted to
Yep.
stay. It was my quiet time and I'd
Yeah.
put them all to bed and then I would get this burst of energy and stay up till midnight watching Real Housewives or something like that. That was
Yeah.
the worst thing I could do for hormones and but you live and learn. But sleeping is big, movement's big, right? So movement is um tied into number one, like nervous system, right? But then also like lymphatics, and your lymphatics is your internal garbage disposal. So if we are getting your organs the building blocks to detox, we need to make sure those pathways, those lymphatic pathways are moving. And by moving and just and it doesn't have to be organized, but like walking is so underrated
Yep.
as a way of movement and exercise. I actually used to have all my women just start with walking. I'm like, walk
Yeah.
10,000 steps a day, 8 to 10,000 steps a day, before you're doing anything else. Hydration, right?
Yep.
That's another big
Yep.
one. Hydration, you need to be flushing out all the gunk that we're stirring up. Urine is
Yep.
a form of detox that you need to be hydrated.
Yep.
Um, and then not just hydrated, like you need to have the minerals, right? So again,
Yeah.
in the high stress environments, you need to be having those electrolyte minerals for your body to have that spark. And then foods, of course, nutrition is big. We're never going to be 100%, but if you can
Yeah.
shoot for, you know, for kids and teens, I'm like, we shoot for 80% compliance, kind of have like
Dang,
the
you're like more hardcore. I'm over here like 60-40. Well, because kids, it's hard.
well, teens, I feel
It's like, I
like
don't want these kids to feel like they can never have their macaroni and cheese ever again
no, but
or
but
their
but now
cheeseburger.
there's so many, like, you can get, like, the Goodles, like, a
Oh, yeah.
Goodles or whatever, like, they're, like, high protein, gluten-free, and, grass-fed cheese or whatever. So, like, there's
Yeah.
things you can do, you know what I mean?
Even
Like
Annie's, what
yeah,
off topic, even Annie's
yeah,
came out with a grass-fed macaroni
yes,
and cheese. I was like, "What?"
yes, totally, and little kids, you do little kids, that's a little bit different, but my older kids, I'm like, "Okay, you want your acne gone? Like, you want this? Like, you gotta, like,
Yeah.
you
Totally.
gotta
No,
have
it's
some
like
you gotta have some skin in the game, you know? Um,
100%.
yeah, and then nervous system, that's huge.
Yeah.
Huge, huge,
Yeah.
huge, and, really dividing it into your fight or flight, so your
Mhm.
sympathetic nervous system, and your parasympathetic, so your rest and digest. Okay,
Yep.
rest and digest, that's when you're absorbing your nutrients, so
Yep.
when we're eating, our feet need to be on the ground, we need to be chewing and, like, in this relaxed
Yeah.
state to get the best bang for your buck. Um, and then really just balancing, trying, if you have a busy morning, try and have a little build in some rest into your schedule. I know it's
Yep.
hard, especially it's very counterculture.
Yes.
But we have to balance that. And, that even goes to like a lot of, constipation issues. Like, well, if you are in go mode from the time you wake up in the morning, you're not going to go to the bathroom. So
Yep.
you
No,
have
it's exactly true. Yep.
you know, um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so
It's like
lifestyle is huge.
yep. Yeah. Huge. It's really, really huge. And then you go into like the biggest one is too is the inflammatory like foods. I always try to say to like avoid is like because that goes in and it just creates more inflammation to the
Yeah,
body. And a lot of times people are like, well, like what do you mean? And I'm like, well, so like bell peppers, like tomatoes, eggplant, a lot of times that can cause more inflammation. And so I always try to say, like, you want to be like limited and just try your best to reduce those things while we're just cleaning out. because a lot of times things that people think go, that are healthy, that sometimes they're really not that healthy because it's just creating that inflammatory response.
Yeah.
But I'm
We
also
wanna
like
be
big.
starving all the bugs that we're trying to get
Yeah,
rid
and
of.
I always say, like, clean your vegetables. Like, get with Rocasa, they make this, wash that you can wash your vegetables with because at the stores even, what I've been learning is that they're spraying all the fruits and vegetables in the salads with, like, chemicals, which I'm not 100% on that, but I've just been
I'm
reading
sure they
things.
are.
Yeah, so I'm like I always tell them, like, "Wash your vegetables, like, go in and double clean them because you wanna make sure that you're not eating your body with that." So, all
Yeah.
again, lifestyle, just foods, nervous system, get working out, again, just allowing the brain connect to the gut and, get your like, with the emotions intact and, like, work
Yeah.
on those things as well. Then you go in and you have the mental and emotional aspect of things too. So,
Yep.
it's like you've got this nervous system safety net, and it's like it's so important rest, like you were just talking about, like rest is so huge because your nervous system relies on that rest. And then also like setting boundaries. And a lot of times it's really hard to just set those boundaries, but the part starts with setting boundaries with yourself. Like set the boundaries with yourself and your organs because it's like you have to communicate to your body. Your body communicates to you, so you need to communicate to your body and set those boundaries and then allow joy to come into your life. My biggest thing is, I always tell my clients this, not some of like, I never ask, like, if they're a believer. I just, follow the Lord and work through God as He just uses me every single day, and so I always just use my analogy that I do for myself because a lot of times I just feel like I get, like, this stuck feeling in my throat or I get, like, this bloated feeling, and so, like, every single morning when I'm in the shower because that's, like, when we're cleansing ourselves, is just like we're washing away things. I always like hug myself. If I feel something like in my chest or if I feel like in my throat, something's like I feel like something's stuck. Or if it's like around like my liver or feel bloated. I always just try to tend to like hug myself or put my hands on like the organs that feel off. And I literally just pray to God and I ask God to like cast out the enemy, cast out anything that is trying to attach to it. Just relieve me of these symptoms and to relieve me of these feelings that I have within me. Because at that, I could take a million supplements, but it's not going to help me relieve of that because it's just been
Yeah.
hanging on. And it's like, I just feel like the feeling that I feel is like abundance and I feel joy because I just feel like this relief coming out of me as I'm showering because it's
Yep.
like God is just right there cleansing me off of that emotional feeling that's just attached to me and
Yep.
just like hanging on. And so I think it's just so important on the mental and emotional aspect of things is to really set that boundary with your body because your body is setting boundaries with you, but you also have to listen to it and communicate with it
You
and
have
just
to believe that you can heal.
yes. Yes,
You
100%, like
have to, like, be all in. You have to buy in. You
yep,
have to be speaking life. Life and death comes from the tongue, right? Like, you need to be speaking life over your body and recognize that
yes,
health
yes,
is a spiritual battleground. The enemy wants to kill, steal, and destroy you,
yes,
right? That's not anything to be afraid of. This
yep,
is just
ex
facts from the
every day.
Bible, from the Bible. Like,
Nope,
you are going
yes,
to have some
yep,
oppression. And every single client I work with at some point in
yes,
our time, they're going to be facing a battle or something. And you work through it, and this is healing.
yes,
And you don't healing isn't all up,
yes,
right? There's
exactly,
gonna be, some ups and
big
downs.
yep,
Yeah, so
yes, like,
it's
'cause
all
we
connected.
believe the body was designed, and we believe the body was yes, and we believe the body was designed, with incredible wisdom, so, like,
Yep,
our job is not to force healing. It's to create the conditions that healing can happen. We just have to allow it and trust it and know that our bodies are designed to want to heal, to want to feel better, and we have to also believe in that joy and that gratitude and that peace that we ultimately allow ourselves to have, but a lot of times we
yep,
block it because we're
yeah,
afraid to like confront it. We're afraid to deal with it. And that's where the enemy tries to come in. And that's why I'm like, I just pray it off every morning. I'm like, Lord, please
smart.
free me of anything that's attaching.
Yep,
And I just think again, the mental What yeah, 100%. I just think that the mental and emotional aspect is a huge part of it too. Like we said, it's physical, mental, and emotional when you're on a health journey. It's not
Yeah,
just physical. Everything else connects because the organs do hold on to fear, anxiety, anger, and a lot of times the organs don't work properly when that happens. So, it's like you you can eat the healthiest food, but you still swallow your emotions.
totally. Yeah, and then because kind of tying everything back to the methylation that we started with, like signs that someone may need methylation support. So it's going to be mood issues, especially for kids,
Yes.
something new, shifting, a
Yes.
lot of times starting with hormonal changes or big events in your life, fatigue, inflammation. So kind of wrapping everything back up to what we started talking about with, methylation. And if you're curious if you struggle with your methylation or if loved one or your kid, here are just some like signs and, certain challenges that may lead towards that. So number one's going to be mood issues, especially emotions in kids that Kelly sees a lot. Fatigue, chronic fatigue, inflammation, chronic inflammation, detox struggles, being heavy for long periods of time of your life, especially starting in adolescence. Just being really sensitive to everything. Everything is overstimulating, and then hormonal imbalances. That's another really a really big one.
Yes. And then I
Um
would say
oh, no, good.
no, you're okay. It is hormone imbalances, just the whole
Yeah.
body just working together, communicating together, having that brain connect to that gut. And at the end of the day, symptoms are communication. They're not
Yep.
punishment. So that's just the most important thing, just to remember that, especially when you're dabbling into how can I make myself feel better? How do I know what to be aware of? And so forth. Those are just little key notes and key points that
Yeah.
we wanted to share with everybody.
Totally. And then just ending this episode with, some affirmations and just a lot of hope. Remember to tell yourself every day, remember yourself to give yourself a hug, like Kelly was talking about. Your body's not broken. Your body's trying to protect you. Every symptom or challenge you have, it's your body speaking to you. So listen.
Yes.
And when you
Yes.
are working with someone, make sure, and, Kelly and I see people as well individually, but they need to support you. They need to be patient with you. If you are of faith, working with someone who is of faith as well is a complete game changer. Having someone
Yes.
pray over you, having someone participate in spiritual warfare over you is a game changer. And also just really believing that healing is possible, change is possible. We were designed to do this. So,
Yes.
lots of hope. Lots of hope.
Lots and lots of hope. Lots of hope and lots of healing by the good Lord.
Yes, 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 yes. But thank you for joining us. Thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you so much.
Subscribe to our YouTube and, send this to anyone who you think it could possibly benefit.